couple of the stories that we're covering kind of tangent off of it. So just as a background, in case anyone is not aware, the higher ups in Trump's cabinet are using Signal to talk about their war plans, which is a huge no-no.
Yeah, it's a no-no on two fronts. It's a no-no, one, because Signal is a private party, unverified, unsecured app. It's more secure than Discord. Mind, it's more encrypted, more secure than something like Discord, but it's still not the level of security that you need for national security, as evidenced by what
them
happened
accidentally
with it.
Adding a fucking journalist to their group chat.
The other issue is when it comes to a lot of those briefings, there is a level of transparency that is supposed to be had, where you have, like, this thing is classified, therefore it takes place in this section of the White House. This thing is not classified, so the press are allowed to be here. This seems like a way to, like, use technology as a convenient gray zone where you get to do things that don't get to fall into either of those categories.
Even more sinister than that, this is potentially avoiding FOIA requests and records passing that point where they become declassified, because they're doing it on unofficial channels that can be deleted without
there isn't
anybody even knowing that it happened.
There isn't a guaranteed record this time around to actually utilize. That's another spoopy one.
Yeah, like you do a FOIA request. Well, I'm not going to send you my Signal messages because that's not supposed to be something that I'm even using. Therefore, it's not subject to the FOIA request.
Yeah, which is not, like, it's a tiny bit tinfoil hatty to go, this is the reason they're probably doing that, but it also doesn't seem outside the realm of...
Is it tinfoil hatty at this point?
That's where I was getting at, was like, yes, it seems a bit tinfoil hatty, but with this administration,
as is pointing out, is that Project 2025 explicitly recommends avoiding a paper trail, and this is one of the ways you do it. So, like, is it tinfoil hatty to say the people that were, like, their entire platform has been pulled right out of Project 2025? Is it tinfoil hatty to say this other thing that we're saying is a possibility with this, that is explicitly said in Project 2025, also a thing that they're doing? Like, I don't think that's tinfoil hatty at this point.
I think that it is, reflexively, I look at it as tinfoil hatty, but in practice, it's not. In terms of the actual, like, material world we live in right now, it's very likely not a conspiracy theory, quote, to say that that's the reason why they're doing it. But I can see, like, let's say, for instance...
They have referenced other Signal chats in the Signal chat that leaked.
Which means that this is a thing that's happening in a bunch of places over a bunch of things.
And also, given that Trump has his habit of, like, running, like, everywhere he goes, he, like, rips papers up.
Yeah.
And, like, he instinctively tries to avoid paper trails. Like, I don't think it's tinfoil hatty to say they are maybe not coordinating to avoid a paper trail, but they are consciously avoiding a paper trail.
I can understand that perspective. Okay, so that one moves it further out of the tinfoil hatty thing, because, like, the major component of a conspiracy theory is typically that there are a lot of disparate elements that just so happen to be working in tandem to achieve an end. That's where the conspiracy part of the theory comes in. But if they're disparate elements that just so happen to be all engaging in these same habits, and that's what makes it all look the same, that's less tinfoil hatty.
Oh, yeah, apparently Signal can do auto-delete as well. Were they set to auto-delete? I hadn't read that.
Well, they definitely weren't set to auto-delete, because the entirety of the chat got leaked. Also, Ravi, thank you for resubscribing.
It's not auto-deleting now. But basically, if you're not familiar, what happened is they had a Signal chat where they were talking about their war plans. Mike Walls, was it Mike Walls?
It was Mike Waltz.
Mike Waltz accidentally added a journalist who happened to be the editor for The Atlantic into the group chat where they were discussing war plans. The editor for The Atlantic did not say anything in the group chat. He just thought he was being pranked. But he, stayed in and stayed silent to see where it was going to go. And then they started talking about, like, oh, it is now this time. We are going to drop bombs at this location.
And then the bombs
at this time.
And then the bombs started dropping
there.
And he's like, oh,
and
okay.
He was like, oh my God, I'm and at that point he's like, okay, I'm not allowed to be in this chat. I am leaving this chat, contacting all these people's offices and asking them for comment, and then publishing it while redacting all of what I see as classified information. All those people then went to Congress and were like, no, we didn't discuss anything classified. We didn't talk about war plans. No, there's nothing classified in there. And the editor-in-chief's response to that was, okay, y'all just testified that it's not classified. Here's the unredacted screenshots. He still redacted the name of the CIA agent that was in the chat, but that's the only thing he redacted.
Specifically, did you see the video of the hearing with Tulsi Gabbard?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
I did not.
This is a link to that video. If you would like to play it, you can. You don't have to. I can summarize what happens in it, though. While she is being grilled on this, she is asked 3 questions. And if you're familiar with the Patrick, is this your wallet meme, that's all this fucking is. Guy goes, okay, were locations discussed in the signal chat? No, sir, they were not. Were names discussed in the signal chat? No, sir, they were not. Were times discussed in the signal chat? No, sir, they were not. Okay, well, if names, locations, and times were not discussed in the chat, therefore, none of it is classified information, because those are the 3 criteria we look for classified information when it comes to OPSEC and military stuff. So if it's not classified information, then we should be able to have all of the reports on all of these chats divested to us, right? And she goes, actually, no, we can't do that. You would need to talk to the head of the CIA to see if that's a thing, if he could declassify those. And he's like, okay, so you're saying they are classified. You're saying classified information was mentioned in these chats. No, sir, I am not saying that. Okay, then declassify them. No, sir, I can't do that because...
I think my favorite part of the chat was Pete Hegseth saying, we are good for operational security. Like,
no, you're not.
He texted to the journalist that was accidentally added to the group.
No, you're not.
That was my favorite one. But yeah, so this is one of those things where, like, all right, comparing to the Hillary Clinton email things, the whole thing with the emails was like, hypothetically, a bad actor could have hacked into her server and gotten access to sensitive information. Mm-hmm. Hypothetically, that could have happened. This is absolutely, you guys leaked sensitive information to it. Thankfully, it wasn't a bad actor or whatever, but like, what if it was? And also, one of the things that is kind of getting overlooked by a lot of people here is that, like, what they did was literally a war crime. Like, they're bombing a civilian building.
Mm-hmm. The actual text in there was, hey, he went into his girlfriend's house. Now it's collapsed. Fist, America flag, fire.
Yeah. So like that's a war crime. Now, to be clear, it's a war crime that every US president has, for the last like 30 years at least, has done. So like, it's not like it's a new war crime that like, oh, it's unprecedented. Biden wouldn't have done that. Obama wouldn't. No, Obama was arguably worse than Trump for drone strikes and shit. So like, that's something that's kind of getting swept under the table, but I feel like that's just because we're just used to American presidents being war criminals and nothing happening as a result of it.
Yeah.
Presidents commit war crimes. What? Indeed they do. But where was I going with that? I forget. I started somewhere, but
there's a couple other there's a couple other telling things. Or you do your thing so you don't forget it again.
Well, I was doing the comparison with Hillary Clinton's emails things. Is like, hers was hypothetically someone that shouldn't have this information might get this information. This is absolutely, we know 100% the whole reason we know about this is because someone who wasn't supposed to get that information got that information and got it accidentally because they were just carelessly added to the group.
Yep.
So like, this is a million times worse than Hillary's email server.
So two telling things that came from this. One, did you see Hegseth's response to this when he got off the plane?
I did, where he was swaying drunkenly and forth.
That wasn't the part that got me, because like a person drinks alcohol while on a private plane. Okay, cool. I don't give a shit about that. What I do give a shit about...
Yeah, but when it's Hegseth who says, I will stop drinking if I am confirmed.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I had forgotten about that. But private stupidities aside, what bothered me most about that, aside from his personal integrity, I don't give a shit about that. He doesn't have any anyway. What didn't surprise me was as soon as he was grilled about that, he immediately fell into Hillary Clinton's emails. He immediately fell into the Russia conspiracy. He immediately fell into the good people on both sides, calling them all hoaxes. Instead of verifying whether or not operational security had been breached, he just started going, what about this hoax? What about this hoax? What about this hoax? What about this hoax?
Did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene being asked a question by a British reporter?
No, I didn't.
So she was being asked a question by a British reporter. She shuts her down, doesn't even let her get the question out, and was like, she was trying to ask the question, do you care about the American lives that were put in danger by this breach of security? That's the question that the British reporter was trying to ask, and she kept shutting her down, being like, I don't care about you because nobody gives a crap about you because you got problems in England that you got to take care of. You got to
that feels like just
do you care about
racist.
Migrants? Yeah, no, she absolutely was being racist. She brought up like, oh, you don't care about migrants raping British citizens, so like you go report on that. I don't care about you. An American reporter then came back and she like called on the American reporter and was like, you're American, right? And he's like, yes, I am American. Okay, what's your question?
Again, that's my just question fucking is racist.
No, he was like, my question is, I would like you to answer her question. To which Marjorie Taylor Greene's response was, like when asked, do you care about the American lives that were endangered by this breach of national security? Her response was, well, what about when Biden did blah, blah,
so
blah,
it's
blah,
just
blah,
whataboutism. It's not.
Yeah.
So
it's like, okay, bitch, who is in charge right now? Biden or Trump? If Biden is the president of the United States right now, then you can bring up things that Biden does wrong. Biden is some old guy who's retired now. Your guy is in charge. Shut the fuck up about Biden. What are your thoughts on this breach of national security that was perpetrated by the Trump administration? You can't blame Biden on this one. But yeah, just the implications of this are just so large. Like from every direction. Like every single person that was in that Signal chat should have resigned by now. In any other administration, they would have been forced out if they didn't voluntarily resign.
Should have been, but I also want to do a tiny bit of math real quick, just a tiny bit. So, you mentioned the drone strikes from Obama. So,
yeah.
Under Obama, across 8 years, there were 574 drone strikes that we know of.
Okay.
Estimating in a life loss of about 3,700 something people. I don't know the exact numbers. In 2 years, during Trump's first presidency, he carried out 176 drone strikes. And if any of you were good at math, 574, let's make it 580 so it's a nice round number, divided by 8 for every year Obama was in office, that's about 70-ish drone strikes a year. So 140-ish drone strikes for 2 years. Trump was doing 170-ish drone strikes per 2 years. In terms of amount of drone strikes, I think Trump technically actually did more than Obama. Like, Obama is known for having the most drone strikes because he had more drone strikes than Bush, but drone technology for stuff like that became way more sophisticated and way more reliable during Obama's presidency. I don't think people remember the kind of technology we had access to during Bush's presidency. I'll go ahead and let you guys know, E-Bomb's World had visitors. If you would like an idea, Evangelion had recently come to the United States. If you would like an idea of what we were dealing with there, 4x3 was still considered normal.
Yeah. I seem to recall hearing a thing where Obama had more drone strikes than Trump. But if I was wrong on that, I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong about that. I mean, I don't know.
Let's see.
The drones are kind of war crimey no matter what.
They're war crimey no matter what. What I am trying to get specifically... Okay, so In the first,
maybe I'm misremembering that because Lady Badass is saying it's confirmed that Trump did way more. Maybe I'm getting mixed up because was it Biden then that did Biden come in and do a surprisingly low number of drone strikes?
I think it was that Biden did a surprisingly low number compared to Obama, but yeah, Trump authorized 74 drone strikes in his first 75 drone strikes in his first 74 days in office, which was a 5-fold increase over Obama's rate. It was later in Obama's presidency that he authorized more. Yeah, no, that's kind of weird that like Republicans latched onto that one really hard, and yet Trump has been doing or did more. Oh, that's why we don't have a lot of information after that. A lot of the information for Trump stops in 2019 because in 2019. After 2,234 drone strikes.
Is that when he signed the executive order being like, oh, we don't have to report these anymore?
Yes, he canceled the drone strike civilian casualty reports. So that's why I can't find a ton of data after this point. Because he started barring that data from American citizens. I'm doing this on the fly. Fuck this administration.
And that's the first time round.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Lil Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.